You opened an app this morning. Maybe Instagram, maybe LinkedIn. Maybe you just glanced at what a friend was wearing and felt something shift inside you, a small pull, a quiet sting. You told yourself it didn't matter, but it did. And the strangest part is that you had absolutely no choice in the matter. Comparing yourself to others feels like a flaw, like weakness, like something you should be able to turn off if you just tried hard enough. But the truth is far stranger than that. Comparison is not a failure of character. It is a survival mechanism so ancient, so deeply wired into your nervous system that it predates language, predates civilization, predates the very concept of self-improvement. Your brain compares because without it, your ancestors would have died. Here's what actually happened. For most of human history, your position in a group determined whether you ate or starved, whether you mated or didn't, whether you were protected or left behind. The group was everything. And within that group, your rank relative to others was not a matter of ego. It was a matter of life. So your brain evolved an extraordinarily sensitive system for tracking exactly where you stood, not just in absolute terms, but in relation to the people immediately around you. Psychologists call this social comparison theory. Leon Festinger coined the term in 1954 after studying how people evaluate their own opinions and abilities. His central finding was deceptively simple. When objective standards are unavailable, humans automatically look to other humans to calibrate their own worth. You are not measuring yourself against an absolute ruler. You are measuring yourself against the people in your immediate environment. Always. Automatically, without permission. And here's where it gets counterintuitive. Festinger also found that comparison is not random. You do not compare yourself to everyone equally. You compare upward when you want to be motivated, and you compare downward when you want to feel better. But the group you compare yourself to is almost always people who seem close to your level, not impossibly above, not far below, just close enough to feel relevant. Your brain is not interested in celebrities by default. It is interested in your neighbor, your colleague, your old friend from school who just got a promotion. This is called the comparison reference group. And for 200,000 years of human evolution, that reference group was small. 20 people, maybe 50. The entire social world your ancestors ever knew fit inside a single village. Every comparison was direct. Every status signal was visible in real time. Your brain was calibrated for that world. Then something happened. The internet did not invent social comparison. It just handed your 200,000-year-old brain a reference group of 8 billion people and said good luck. Psychologist Timothy Wilson at the University of Virginia has spent decades studying the gap between what people think will make them happy and what actually does. One of his consistent findings is that humans are spectacularly bad at predicting how social information will affect them. You scroll through a highlight reel of someone else's vacation and your brain does not register it as a curated performance. It registers it as real data about your social standing. The same neural machinery that once tracked who had more meat in the cave is now tracking who has more likes on a post. And it is not just modern technology that exploits this system. The mechanism has been hijacked by markets, media, and social structures for as long as civilization has existed. Thorstein Veblen described conspicuous consumption in 1899 as the public display of wealth specifically to signal status relative to others. The luxury watch, the big house, the name on the building. None of these things exist for functional reasons. They exist because your brain is always watching, always calibrating, always asking the same ancient question, where do I stand? But here is the part that changes everything. The comparison system in your brain does not distinguish between threats and resources equally. Research by Sonja Lyubomirsky at the University of California, Riverside found that chronically unhappy people engage in more frequent upward social comparison and are more negatively affected by it than happy people. The difference was not that happy people compared less. It was that they had a different relationship with the comparison. They used it as information rather than verdict. They looked up, noticed the gap, and did not interpret that gap as proof of their own inadequacy. Unhappy people look up and hear, "You are not enough." Happy people look up and hear, "Interesting. There is something to learn here." The information is identical. The story the brain tells about it is completely different. This is not a personality trait you are born with. It is a cognitive habit. And habits can be changed. The science on this is surprisingly concrete. A 2017 study published in the Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology found that limiting social media use to 30 minutes a day led to significant reductions in loneliness and depression in just 3 weeks. Not because the people in the study stopped caring about others, but because they reduced the frequency of unnecessary upward comparisons triggered by an environment designed to maximize them. Your brain did not evolve for infinite comparison. It evolved for bounded comparison. The village, the tribe, the small group of people who knew you fully, not in curated fragments. And there is a deeper twist here. The comparisons that feel most painful are almost never about what they appear to be about. When you see a colleague get promoted and feel that familiar sting, you are not really upset about the promotion. You are upset because your brain is using that data point to run a calculation about your place in the world. And that calculation is based on incomplete information. You are comparing your inside to their outside. You are comparing your full experience with all its doubt and effort and failure to the one moment of their life that became visible to you. This is what psychologists call the spotlight effect. Thomas Gilovich at Cornell University demonstrated that people consistently overestimate how much others are noticed, observed, and judged. You think everyone is tracking your status the way you are tracking theirs. They are not. They are too busy tracking their own. The comparison is almost never mutual. So what do you do with this? You cannot turn the system off. Your brain will compare. That is not negotiable. But you can change two things: the reference group you choose and the question you ask when the comparison fires. Most people let their reference group be chosen for them by algorithms and proximity. The people the feed shows you, the colleagues in your immediate orbit, the friends whose lives happen to be visible. You can choose deliberately instead. You can choose people who are doing work aligned with your actual values. You can choose your past self as the primary reference point. Growth measured against where you were, not where someone else is. And when the comparison fires, you can change the question. Instead of "what does this say about me?" you can ask, "what does this tell me about what is possible?" That small shift moves the comparison from verdict to data, from judgment to information. Your ancestors needed comparison to survive. They needed to know where they stood so they could cooperate, compete, and adapt in real time. That need did not disappear, but the environment it was built for no longer exists. You are not in a village of 50 people. You are in a world of 8 billion, most of whom you will never meet, all of whose highlight reels are beamed directly into your nervous system dozens of times a day. The ancient system is running inside a completely different machine. This morning, when you opened that app and felt that quiet sting, that was not weakness. That was your brain doing exactly what it was built to do. Scanning the environment, measuring your place, asking the oldest question your species has ever asked. The question is not going away, but the answer, for the first time in human history, is something you actually get to choose.